Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this horror TV series season review video as part of my 2 month ongoing series, taking a look at Tales from the Crypt, the series from the 90s. Today, we're going to take a look at the seventh and final season of Tales from the Crypt. Um, but before we get started, you probably notice I have a different background. My family's officially moved into our new house. You can see I got all my DVDs out, all my horror movies. And I actually have more right next to me here that you can't see. But yeah, we're still getting stuff set up. It'll be a process. Eventually, that shelf behind me will probably get full of books. Some of my horror books and my wife's books. I have to share a little bit. Um, but this probably will be the room that I do my videotaping in or my reviews from on my channel going forward. It'll probably look better as time goes on in terms of um, movies, books, pictures, other stuff on the wall. So anyway, just wanted to get that out of the way. But also, I have to apologize. I'm under the weather a little bit up here in the Midwest, where it's May 1st and we've had snow already today. And with all the moving and cleaning of our old apartment and everything over the weekend, I really didn't get a lot of sleep or eat a lot. Yeah, needless to say, I'm dealing with some cold issues going on here. But anyway, Tales from the Crypt season 7. We've made it to the last season of this series. It seems like I've been doing this for more than 2 months, but of course that's because I'm in the middle of moving and a lot of other things going on. But hopefully the lighting is good in here. But season 7 of Tales from the Crypt. So I didn't know much about season 7. I know that this season in particular went to England. It was shot overseas with like English actors and sort of, I think, even stories. They're all based in England and stuff. So, which you can obviously tell from episode 1 of season 7. But I was also warned by a lot of people that this was the worst episode of the series, and so I kind of went into it with pretty low expectations. And yeah, it probably is the worst of the series. And we'll get into that as I do my final summary video and I rank all the seasons along with my favorite and least favorite episodes here in a few days. But I don't think it was quite as bad as I thought. There's really just more of a lot of meh episodes, just a lot of I don't really feel anything for them. A couple of really bad episodes, in my opinion. A couple of good episodes, in my opinion. But overall, yeah, of the 13 episodes, I would say 10 of them, 8, 9 of them, I would say actually are probably just more, whatever. It's fine. That's kind of how I was left feeling. So from that standpoint, I think it is the one season that's probably the lesser. But anyway, let's just talk about season 7 today. So yeah, 13 episodes in total that aired. I believe they started in April of 1996 and they went through July of 1996. Um, and as I said, they were all. This is where the series moved to. Was it London or England? Overseas, it definitely got the British accent, the British storylines, and the British performers going on in these episodes, which is fine. But I just thought that was sort of an interesting little side note. So we'll go ahead and start with my least favorite, my bottom three of the season, and there was some competition for it, but we'll start with my third least favorite of the season that I gave 2.5 out of 5 for. And that's going to be The Kidnapper, which aired right in the middle of the season. This aired on June 7th, 1996. It was the seventh episode of the season, directed by James H. Spencer and written by John Harrison. This is the one with Steve Coogan, who plays Danny Skaggs, a simple minded and delusional pawn shop owner who meets Teresa, a heavily pregnant homeless woman whom he takes in. Over the time, the two develop a bond, but whereas Teresa only sees Danny as a friend, Danny falls in love with her. Danny becomes insanely envious when Teresa's child is born, so he sets out to get rid of the child in the hopes that Teresa will love him. When Teresa becomes too overwhelmed with emotion to respond to his advances, Danny races to find the baby and return the baby to her. This episode's not I mean, really, it's probably not like awful, awful. Coogan is definitely the best part of the episode, his performance. But at the same time, I was kind of bored in this episode. I kind of knew how it was going to turn out. And it just didn't really make a lot of sense to me. It's just kind of a weak story, in my opinion. Um, yeah, the twist really didn't do anything for me. Like I said, other than Steve Coogan, this episode's just meh. It's just forgettable to me. So that's my third least favorite. My second least favorite that I only gave a 2 out of 5 to. Um, where is it now? Report from the Grave. That one I gave the kidnapper. I gave a 2.5 out of 5, so not quite as bad. Report from the Grave, which was the very next episode, episode 8, that aired on June 14th, 1996, was directed by William Malone and written by William Malone. This one I gave a 2 out of 5 to. This is the one with the paranormal researcher who invents a machine that is able to collect thoughts from the dead, trying to read the thoughts of maniacal serial killer and hypnotist Valdemar Timrak. Elliot turns the device far too high and ends up killing his girlfriend, Rihanna. Elliot becomes determined to resurrect Rihanna at any cost, but discovers that um, Ty- Ty- Timrak's ghost, Timrak's ghost is working against him. Um, the wording of the episode is just as meh as the episode itself is. Yeah, this is just a really forgettable episode. Again, it just doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous, the premise of it. I don't really have much else to say. Report from the Grave is just a wasteful episode. It doesn't do anything. It didn't excite me in any way. It's one of those episodes that I felt I was even generous giving a 2 out of 5. But my number one least favorite episode of the season, and this might surprise some of you because I know some people it's the only episode they like from season 7. But that's the very last episode of the season, the animated episode entitled "The Third Pig." That was directed by Bob Kopp and Pat Venture and written by Bob Kopp. That aired on July 19th, 1996. The very last episode of season 7, the very last episode of the Tales from the Crypt series from the 90s, the 13th episode of the season. This is the ultimate WTF episode. It really is. And I'm all for animation. I like animated shorts and animated movies and stuff, but I like good ones. This is an animated edition of The Three Little Pigs, basically narrated by the Crypt Keeper himself. The Big Bad Wolf is voiced by Bobcat Goldthwait. Uh, he ends up slaughtering Drinky Pig and Smoky Pig. One pig that drinks all the time, one pig that smokes all the time. Boy, that's original. Leaving the third pig, Dudley, who's kind of the nerdy, smart pig, accused of murdering his brothers by a rigged jury of wolves. And then he basically, with the help of his dead brothers, their ghosts, they help him escape. And he plans to take revenge on the big bad wolf by using a laboratory once by a mad scientist to create a zombie pig, also voiced by Brad Garrett. There's just not much to say. This is, even as an animated short episode, this is really bad. I gave it a 2 out of 5. It's probably more like a 1.5 out of 5. I know there's people that get enjoyment out of it, and that's fine. I didn't even think the animation was that good. It's basically ripping off a Grimm's fairy tale and making it an R-rated Tales from the Crypt episode, which is just really lazy. And yeah, it is just a really bad episode. I would skip this one at all costs if I were you. The third pig is just a complete waste, and it really confirms why the show was canceled in the first place at the end of the 7th season. So those are my three least favorite or worst episodes of season 7. Now we'll get into my top 5, and we're going to start with my number 5, which is going to be the very first episode of season 7, entitled Fatal Caper. That aired on April 19th, 1996. It was directed by Bob Hoskins and written by Gilbert Adler. And Bob Hoskins also doesn't star in this episode, but he's in this episode as sort of a cameo appearance. he's not in it a whole lot. But basically, Lord Mycroft Amberson, a wealthy elderly man with a weak heart, adds a stipulation to his will. The stipulation mentions that his two sons, the womanizing Justin and the greedy Evelyn, must locate their long lost brother, Frank, within a certain amount of time, or else risk having their inheritance be given away to charity. Natasha Richardson, rest in peace, also stars in this episode. And I have to say, I was caught off guard by the twist in this one. It really worked for me, though. You got great performances by Bob Hoskins when he's on screen. I thought he directed the episode well. Natasha Richardson's good in the episode. Um, the other two brothers are fine. They're over the top, but I think they're supposed to be. Um, I just thought it had. This is an episode that has lots of twists, really, at the end. It has like 5 or 6 different twists, which, being honest, it probably would have rated even higher if it didn't go for so many different twists. But I understand the episode's trying to throw you off, and upon sitting on it, letting it marinate for a while, it doesn't bother me as much as it did right after I first watched the episode. I still think some of it was unnecessary, but the final twist is very sleepaway camp related, and that's all I'll say about it. But Fatal Caper is a really solid episode, and I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's my fifth favorite episode of season 7. Um, my fourth favorite episode from season 7 is going to be the last good episode, in my opinion, or the last really good episode, I guess, in my opinion. That's Confession, that aired on July 5th, 1996. This was episode 11 of the season. That was directed by Peter Hewitt and written by Scott Nimmerfro. This is the one with Eddie Izzard in it, a serial killer on a rampage in a nearby city, decapitating women and taking their heads as trophy. That's a serial killer's on a rampage in a nearby city, decapitating women and taking their heads as trophies. Horror screenwriter Warhol Evans, played by Eddie Izzard, is labeled as the prime suspect when he is found washing his hands, presumably cleaning off the blood near the latest crime scene. He is interrogated by famed detective Jack Lynch, played by Syrian Hines, who attempts to label him as the killer, but Evans doesn't go down without a fight trying to turn the interrogation around. This one's all about the performances and the characters. I thought that um, both Eddie Izzard and Syrian Hines were excellent in this episode, and they had really good chemistry as they had a lot of confrontation, a lot of dialogue between each other. Um, it reminds me of an episode. I think it was my favorite episode of, was it season 4 or 5? Kind of the Strangers on a Train parody, but um, yeah, just really solid chemistry between the two main leads here. It's hard. It's a good watch because it really takes you in and makes you interested the whole time. At least it did me. Um, the twist at the end isn't necessarily completely out of nowhere or completely unforeseen. I don't think that's the strength of the episode, though. I really feel like it's the two performers, the two characters, and their interaction and their chemistry, and it's kind of got a nice mystery to it with some kind of intense moments. So yeah, Confession is going to be my fourth favorite episode of season 7. Getting into my top 3, my third favorite episode from season 7 is going to be episode 3 that aired on May 3rd, 1996, and was written and directed by Brian Helgeland. And it's entitled A Slight Case of Murder. This is about the famous mystery novelist Sharon Bannister, who's repeatedly pestered by her nosy neighbor, Mrs. Trask, who wants to who wants her advice to see if her own writing is any good as Sharon's. One day, Sharon is held at gunpoint by her jealous ex-husband, Larry, who accuses her of cheating on him with Mrs. Trask's son, Joey, leading to a suspenseful game of cat and mouse between all parties. This is just a really fun, enjoyable episode. It really is a cat and mouse game, and basically everything that happens in this episode is orchestrated by one particular character, and I just thought it was really well done. I thought it was original. I thought it was creepy and eerie. It kind of worked for me on a lot of different levels. So yeah, A Slight Case of Murder, my third favorite episode, which happens to be the third episode of season 7. Getting into my top 2 now, my second favorite episode of season 7 is going to be episode 9 from the season. This was directed by Mandy Fletcher and written by Lisa Sandoval, that aired on June 21st, 1996, and it's entitled Smoke Rings, Rings with a W. This is the one that has Daniel Craig, James Bond himself in it, but it's about an advertising executive, Jacqueline, who ends up hiring Barry, who Daniel Craig plays, an ex-convict, into her firm despite his lack of knowledge in advertising. Barry shows off a strange device he carries that is able to hypnotize people and plant suggestions into their head, hoping to increase product sales. What Jacqueline doesn't know is that Barry, in exchange for not being sent back to jail, is in league with her enraged ex-partner, Alistair Touchstone, who seeks revenge against her after she stole his company from him. So this is another one. This one actually is, I think the twist does work really well in this one, and I didn't see it coming, but Daniel Craig really steals the show in this one. He's really good. The other actors and actresses are good in this episode, and it's just kind of a good mystery that unfolds, and you don't quite know where it's going. And like I said, the ending really landed it for me. So yeah, Smoke Rings is definitely the one of the best episodes of season 7, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I also gave Confession a 3 point, or no, wait, I'm sorry. Um, I gave A Slight Case of Murder a 3.5 out of 5, and Confession a 3.5 out of 5. Fatal Caper, I gave a 3 out of 5, which it might as well be a 3.5. I enjoyed it. But my number one episode from season 7, my favorite episode from season 7, is going to be the fifth episode from season 7 that's entitled Horror in the Night. And this was directed by Russell McCauley and written by John Harrison, that aired on May  24th, 1996. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. This is about jewel thief Nick Marvin, who's double crossed by his partner and hides out in a nearby hotel after being shot in the shoulder. Once inside, Nick is haunted by many disturbing visions and occurrences inside the hotel and is repeatedly visited by Laura, a beautiful woman that only he can see only he can see, who seems to have ulterior motives. The reason, of course, if you know me, the reason I love this one is it's the ultimate ghost story, really. And I just thought it was really good. I thought the performances were good. It's got some scary moments, some eerie moments. It's a very good Tales from the Crypt episode, and there weren't a lot of great Tales from the Crypt episodes in season 7, but this was definitely the best one in my opinion. And I thought it was well directed, really good atmosphere, and it's got a really good twist too. That again, like just like Smoke Rings, really worked for me at the end, and it wasn't just tacked on or anything. It actually really did work well within the story. So, Horror in the Night, my favorite episode from season 7. So there you have it, guys. That's it. All 7 seasons have been watched and reviewed. If you haven't seen my reviews for the first 6 seasons, they're up on my channel. Be sure to check them out. Now that we've reviewed season 7, there's only one more video to come for this series, and that, of course, is my overall Tales from the Crypt summary and review, where I'll also rank all 7 seasons as I see it, from my least favorite to my favorite. I'll give you my bottom 5 episodes of the entire series and my top 10 episodes. I'm sure there'll be a couple honorable mentions in there, but my favorite episodes from the entire series. And that video should be dropping in a couple of days here, probably by the 5th of May. Today's May 1st. So I would say by the end of this week, by the 5th. And then I'll be going into my next series for the month of May right after that. So hope you enjoyed this review video. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to my new digs, as I said. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my great horror content. Please like this video and hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my last review for this series. And thank you for watching. Stay scared. Bye.